welcome everybody to the March 22 edition of Startup Monterey Bay Connect. Thank you for joining us. We are, just in case you missed it, we are on Zoom. You all know the drill on Zoom. The most important part here is please keep your microphone muted if you're not speaking. We love your dog, but that doesn't necessarily work well on the program. And this meeting is being recorded. So if you would like to not be recorded live, make sure you keep your camera off. All right, let's roll forward. What we got here? So welcome to Startup Monterey Bay Connect. We're here to network, meet each other, hear about great up and coming companies and other organizations, and to build a community of entrepreneurship. And ultimately have fun, make money, and change the world. This is our Startup Monterey Bay Connect team. Hi, my name is Brad Barbeau. I am the director of the CSUMB Institute for Innovation and Economic Development. We're the folks who put this on. Mary Jo Zenk, who is not with us tonight. We have a surprise stand-in for Mary Jo. Dan Ripke will be joining us shortly. Dr. Jenny Kwan, Lynette Lathrop driving the slides, Andy Rabago, our more than great Connect organizer, Aaliyah Ibarra, and Marianne D'Souza. On to next. Special thanks to our sponsors, Cal State Monterey Bay, and of course, Startup Monterey Bay. That is us. The Economic Development Administration underwrites much of our programming, and our key marketing partner, the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. Tonight, we have a really cool panel for you. So the Salinas Valley, as most of you are aware, is home to over $4 billion worth of agricultural output each year. We grow 40% of the country's strawberries, 70% of the country's lettuce, and a whole long list of other specialty crops. But agriculture, and Salinas Valley agriculture included, faces some serious challenges, from labor shortages, water challenges coming in and going out, and a world needing to increase food output by at least 50% by 2050. And we can't do that by using more land. More likely, less land is going to be available. So we've got to do this in the face of growing populations and rising sea levels. So it's got to be done on the same or less land, using fewer resources, fewer pesticides, less labor. And tonight we're featuring 3 companies that are working to make that happen, plus a California incubator that's helping to build companies that will be the future of ag. Tonight, we have Exactly, an ag informatics company that makes sophisticated data easy to use to help growers reduce crop losses. We have Heavy Connect, who provide digital documentation solutions for the food supply chain to manage a whole host of issues: food safety, worker training, time and productivity tracking, and more. And FarmWise, it builds innovative systems and processes to streamline farm operations and increase food production efficiency. And finally, all of these are inventing 21st century agriculture. And we also will have a presentation by the Fresno State Water, Energy, and Technology Center, which is an incubator building companies for 21st century agriculture. But first, before we get to our great panel, let's roll to introducing you. Let's find out who's in the audience. So if you open up chat and put into chat a brief description of who you are and what you do, this is your chance to gain at least 4 or 5 seconds of your 15 minutes of fame. So add yourselves into chat. And while we're doing that, if you haven't responded to the poll, looks like most people have, to our welcome poll about where you're from. It's always interesting to see where folks are from. So I'm going to end that poll, pop up the results. Looks like we've got one person from Santa Cruz County. We've got 14 from Monterey County and 5 from somewhere else. Who's coming from the longest distance? Anybody want to stand up and say, hey, I'm in from Jakarta?
Canada, but I don't usually find that that's the furthest. So maybe today, Toronto, Canada.
Could be. Toronto, Canada is a long ways away.
Feels like it.
Cool. All right. And people are putting themselves into chat so you can see who everybody is. Excellent. Harrison, Alonso, Ruben, Will Garrigues, and Melissa West Kevin, CHHS student. Excellent. Welcome, Melissa. All right. Let us roll forward. Coming up next, we have what would be MJ's monthly news quiz, but MJ is out this week, so standing in for MJ is our very own Lynette Lathrop as our guest host. Lynette, take it away. What have you got to stump the chumps tonight?
Yes, I have the honor of stepping in for Mary Jo since she's out of office this week. So you get me as your guest host this month. So every month, we go through a monthly news quiz and we share with the audience some really cool facts and up and coming programs and companies in the area that you might be interested in. So let's move forward to the first question. First question, what's the name of the Comcast California program assisting Black, Indigenous, and people of color owned small businesses? So as also known as BIPOC owned small businesses. Let's pop this in the poll. So options are Comcast Club, Comcast Boost, Comcast Rise, or Comcast Choice. I'll give you a few moments to answer a few more.
Don't be shy. If you don't know, take a guess.
All right, it looks like we got most of the votes in.
Cool. Just a note, I think the winner on the distance is Nick Ushio, a resident from Silicon Valley, but he's joining us from Japan, which is even further away than Toronto.
All right, so we have the votes in. Let me go ahead and share the results. Looks like most people are going for Comcast Rise. Let's see what the answer is. Comcast Rise. All right, good job. So I just wanted to share this resource with everyone. This is a really cool program that Comcast launched late last year. And what they're doing is they're helping BIPOC-owned small businesses get marketing, some consultant help, and technology services to help move their business forward. If you're interested in applying to this program, they're accepting applications right now for the next cohort through June 17th. And the link is right there. Also, Aaliyah has shared it in the chat, so check it out. Moving on to the next question. All right, I think this is a really cool one. What is the name of Parallel Flight's new drone? Options are
not Susan.
Yeah, options are Fireworks, Firefly, Cargo Lift, or Payload. Take your pick. Looks like most people might know this answer. This is a really cool story, and Parallel Flight unveiled this drone just last month, so you might have seen it recently in the news. All right, gonna give it a few more seconds and I'll close the poll. Okay, here we go. Looks like most people are voting for the name Firefly. Let's see what the answer is. Firefly, good job. All right, so this drone is pretty impressive. They unveiled it last month at an event, and a really cool fact about it is it can carry 100 pounds of cargo for 2 hours, and it can fly at a speed of 70 to 100 miles per hour. So it's a pretty strong drone, and you probably don't want to get in the way of this drone. So that's Firefly. Moving on to the next question. Which quickly growing housing and traveling movement is Startup Vanly addressing? So here are the options. First-time home buying, affordable apartments, van life, or Airbnb rentals. What do you think? Pretty good. Looks like people are picking up on context clues. All right, a few more seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and share the results. Looks like everyone is voting for, most people are voting for van life. Let's see what it is. That's correct, van life. So this is a really cool story, and Vanly actually participated in Startup Challenge. They have created an app for people living in vans or are traveling in vans to find a nice, safe spot to park for the night, and also find resources like Wi-Fi and water nearby to reload. And Elias shared the link in the chat if you're interested in reading the full story. But that's all for tonight. Thank you for playing MJ's Monthly News Quiz. And if you're interested in learning more, we always share stories on our social platforms as well as on our website. And also another cool resource is santacruzworks.org.
Cool. Thank you very much, Lynette. Let's give Lynette a big hand for standing in for MJ tonight. We had LL instead of MJ. Cool. So let's roll forward here to the next slide from this one. Next up, next. Get virtual, upcoming events. What's going to be happening here? What do we got for upcoming events? All right, the Startup Challenge applications are open. The official deadline was last night, but we have extended the deadline through Friday because we've still got some folks out there who are working on their applications. So we're going to give them a little bit of time to finish those up. So applications are open through Friday, March 11th. Don't miss your chance to jump in here. If you know somebody who's starting a business, the Startup Challenge is a great place to jump in, get a chance to present your business, get help on planning out your business and figuring out how to do it the best way. Send them off to startupchallengemb.com on our Prepare to Compete page. Open through Friday. All right, what's next? Startup Monterey Bay Connect in April. We'll be back. Well, we'll be somewhere. We don't yet know if we're going to be live or on Zoom in April. We'll hopefully be live. And the theme for next month is going to be drones, automation, and robotics technology, known to many of us as DART. So don't miss it. Next up. And now it's time for our great presenters. And who are we going to start with here? Oh, quick reminder during the presentations, if you have a question, don't try to sit on it. That can get really painful. Put your question in chat. We'll make sure it gets asked and answered. All right. Let us begin with Russell Cole, the CEO of Exactly was the winner of the 2021 Startup Challenge Venture Division. And they're continuing to go full speed to get their system launched for measuring and reporting crop losses in real time, helping farmers to adjust their procedures to minimize those losses. Russell comes from my hometown of Toronto, Canada. And despite all the travel challenges posed over this last couple of years by COVID, he's kept exactly moving forward at a breakneck pace. Let's welcome Russell Cole of Exactly to tell us, what are you up to, Russell?
Thank you for the intro, Dr. Barbeau. And I should have you introduce me. And Jeff McCon, also, you're great at introductions. We are firing on all cylinders. So I just want to say thank you for having us come this evening. If there's any chance I can either inspire an entrepreneurial minded human being or capture the attention of somebody who thinks they can help Exactly, you know, we're always open to discussions, and I hope we can help you out as well in any fashion. So I'll say that first and foremost. Happy Women's Day. That's another fun thing that we get to all share on a day like today. But I will jump into the presentation if you don't mind. I think I need to be able to share my screen, which I can. And here we are. This is our title slide, and I'm going to jump right into it. And keep it going. I'll try to be as quick as possible. There are many slides I will skip over here, and it's only because they're there in case you ask questions like, how do we do that? Or, you know, things like that. So Exactly Crop Insights, to Dr. Barbeau's point, we are helping discover the reasons for crop loss and much, much more for farmers of salad bowl crops. That's why we have a salad bowl in front of you. And these crops are broccoli, lettuce, cauliflower, etc. We focus on this portion of the industry for a variety of reasons, which we can talk about at length later, but there's definitely a strong rationale. The problem that we're really looking at solving right now is that farming organizations, the businesses of farming organizations, they just don't trust ag tech companies enough to make a large enough difference on a global scale today. I think that's changing with respect to the generational turnover that's occurring, and just technology companies like Exactly and others. I noticed FarmWise is here. There are such great companies that are offering such great value that we are going to change the world, and I see it happening. But in the meantime, farming organizations are losing billions of dollars. This is where we're at in the innovation hype curve of ag tech. And I think this is really cool just to look at where we are. When innovations start coming to the surface, you know, they're believed in and adopted, and expectations are really heightened. But then they get disillusioned, you know, when expectations aren't met, or the clients of the technology, and that trough of disillusionment has occurred. And I think we're climbing out of it, and we're coming to this slope of enlightenment where Exactly is fitting in, and many other ag tech companies are able to serve clients now who have a stronger appetite for our technology. And again, I'm seeing it. It makes me very excited, and I hope everybody here can feel that as well as we hear the rest of these presentations. This is the challenge, though. This is what it looks like. When we speak to farmers, we understand and learn that a lot of farmers keep their data in cabinets, and it might not be as messy as this on top of a cabinet, but in some cases it is. And these pieces of paper are rarely revisited year over year, whereas a simple data repository solution can obviously take care of this mess and add a whole lot more value. So that's just a good visual for you. And another good visual is just to understand that all of that can kind of go into one central tool, which is your smartphone or tablet or computer. And this isn't rocket science. I think this is just something that we've all been waiting for to happen in ag tech. And the solution, just to share exactly what we do, we provide multi-sensory data, tracking and analytics reporting to build transparency throughout a farming organization on multiple fronts. And this unlocks value in many areas of a farming business, everywhere from farming itself to operations planning, C-suite reporting, and external stakeholder reporting are all areas that we are now touching. It did all start from evaluating crop losses, however, and I will say that for sure. How we do it, and traditionally what we've done is we fly fields with drones. We apply algorithms to different types of data we collect to enable us to share insights as visuals to our farming clients. What it looks like is just a couple of images here on the left. You just have a general analytics tab that shares a bunch of information, what your harvest reports look like, what your weather might look like, how many counts of crops you have in the field, and we compare that to target, so you know if you're above or below target. And then we have a whole chat, window that we can open up with cultivators as well, and we help our cultivators understand what's happening very rapidly. We also provide sample reports just like this that help our farmers understand their crop losses. Like I mentioned, if they're hitting their target, if they're below or above target, what their predicted harvests look like. And also there's star ratings that we provide now as well to allow either vertically integrated farms to evaluate their actual farming plots that they own, or for an externally third-party farming organization that hires farmers externally to enable them to see, are they 5 stars? Are they 2 stars? And that's to help them negotiate in their contracts and discussions with their external partners. This is a very strong point of value for planning, obviously operations. And these slides I'm going to skip through quickly, but it's just how we monitor stress, how we monitor soil moisture, how we look at crop counts. But the value is really what it's about. And this I'll let you read for yourself, and I'll kind of share it as well as information at your fingertips, rapid insights, faster and more certain decisions, and seamless reporting. So this allows farmers to really take control of their operation and get the benefits that they deserve because they have all the data. It's there. We just have to collect it. And some real life examples that we've uncovered throughout our organization's existence is that we've discovered underplanted fields to allow them to replant quickly, to maximize their land and understand their actual plots of land that they may not have realized were available to plant on. The moments to harvest, and just improving yields, operations, and sales, and C-suite reporting and planning. So these are the things that we're really providing value in today. And it all starts and ends with trust. So I will share a bit more when we get to the team slide, but trust is the main name of the game. And we really do believe we have it. And we're collecting testimonials like this now, which we're very proud of. We're helping farmers, untap millions of dollars of unrealized revenues, right? Or dollars towards their bottom lines and cost savings as well. And this is something we're super proud of. We want to continue doing. We work with these farmers and organizations, and some of them we don't work with anymore, like Wilbur Ellis, but most of them we do still work with. And we're very proud to say that. Why broccoli, lettuce, and cauliflower? I'm not going to get into this right now, but the TLDR is that specialty row crops are scary. And if you want to chat about it further, I'm more than happy to do it. Here's the team, and this goes back to the trust. We have a team that's made up of really, really strong ag tech minded human beings and ag tech community members. Graham Evans is our director of operations, and he's grown up in the Carmel, Monterey area. His children go to school there among all of the, farming families, children's schools as well. And has really opened up a lot of doors for us just because, there's that camaraderie and that neighborly type of feel that we have within our business. We operate in Salinas predominantly, and Graham is a strong, enormous reason for us to have gained the success we have so far. Skip and Tim and Todd and our advisors and other board members are also very well ingrained in the community. They are passionate about ag tech and helping farmers, and every time we meet with our clients, it comes out, through and through, and it's something that I really love to watch now that we have such great team members. Our board members and advisors, Brooks and Chris Bly, are on our team. Brooks was our Startup Challenge mentor, and I'd recommend anybody and everybody who has a company or an idea to apply to this Startup Challenge. I think it was one of the best things that I've done as an entrepreneur, and couldn't be more thankful. Our next steps, I'll skip this because it's about funding, but our ask, just because I have the floor, and I'd love to find people to join our ship and our mission. Summer internships are available in multiple roles, and full-time pilots. So I'm just going to say that in my last moments of this presentation. My contact information is here. It's also in the chat. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I love to have conversations with entrepreneurs and anybody to do with ag tech. So please call me up on it anytime.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you very much. We got a few questions in chat. One that I started with, you said something about multi-sensory data, and I'm really curious about what does that look like?
Yeah, and I think I should share my screen again, actually, just to give you that almost those slides that I skipped through really quickly. This is multi-sensory data, just refers to any data point that we can collect. It could be through imaging data points, it could be through weather data points, it could be through soil moisture probe points, it could be just a variety of sensors, right? But one of our sensors, this is a satellite image, and this is a timeline of satellite imagery being taken, and it's an NDVI image, which is basically collected from multispectral sensor, and it allows farmers to see the health of their fields, for example. Then we can also get into soil moisture and ground temperature. And we actually collect this data 1 to 3 times a week and allow our clients to see we alert our clients of any big changes that we see that might look concerning. We do that automatically now, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. There's another question here asking, is the data collection time over a single crop important? That is, if it takes minutes versus hours to scan a crop, does that affect the quality of the collected data?
Yes, yes. So it depends. We've created an entire Excel doc to include all of the different types of hardware that you can fly, whether it's a simple drone, a complex drone, a fixed wing drone, with different cameras on it. So whether it's a 42 megapixel camera or a 15 megapixel camera, and at what height you fly it and at what speed you fly it. And we've put that model together so we can quickly understand how fast our pilots can work, because we need to know how many fields they can service. So we've basically answered the question, but the short answer is yes. It's a very large model, and it's plug and play, and yeah, all the variables make big differences regarding the plots you're flying. I will mention that in specialty row crops, you have a variety of plot sizes, whereas in regular row crops like commodity crops, it's just enormous fields. So the TLDR slide I had is more into that discussion, but I think we'll have to save it for later about, yeah, specialty crops versus row crops.
Cool, thanks. And Jeff is asking, and I'm interested also about the summer intern and full-time pilot opportunities.
What are you interested about?
Well, we got a lot of students, I think Jeff's in the same boat, who would be interested in summer internships, and we'd love to get them placed with you.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think it's not just an internship mentality. We really do want to bring in people who want to create jobs, right? Who want to work with us after that internship. So we just started on this mission, so we don't really have a formal posting, but we're going to be putting one out, and I will reach out to both of you, Dr. Barbeau and Jeff. And we also have Chris Bly, our advisor, who's helping us on that front with a few other colleges. And yeah, we really look forward to bringing in the right people. I mean, I think we could probably bring in up to 3 interns this summer if we're looking for real numbers.
Cool. Excellent. Well, we'll see what we can do to get you some great interns. Thank you very much, Russell. Any other last questions? All right. If not, let's switch screens here. And here we come. And next up, we have Patrick Zelaya, who is the CEO of Heavy Connect. We first met Patrick back in 2015 at our startup weekend, where he was working on the idea that became Heavy Connect. Took a couple of tries, but he won the venture division of Startup Challenge in 2016, and he hasn't looked back since. Here's Patrick to give us his latest update on how Heavy Connect is helping companies with compliance. Patrick, good to see you.
Thanks, Brad. It's good to see you too. Hey, everybody. I'm Patrick Zelaya. Started the idea for Heavy Connect, as Brad mentioned, back in 2015. And it was a time when mobile devices were really kind of coming into their own and being more ubiquitous and everyone having them. So, we wanted to create, we wanted to leverage that access and power, similar to, as Russell was saying, to get rid of a lot of the paper. And for Heavy Connect, it was really about the operation. So can you guys see my PowerPoint? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. And Russell, I really liked your presentation, especially seeing that we're coming out of the trough of disillusionment. I love to see that. And yeah, everything that you talked about is real, and overcoming cultural kind of resistance to new technologies has always been a challenge, regardless of how spot on your technology is as a value to the industry. So yeah, we started building Heavy Connect and replacing paper in operations, and we started here in the Salinas Valley. Most recently, we were fortunate enough to get recognized as one of the winners for the FDA's solutions for the new era of smarter food safety and traceability. So basically what Heavy Connect is it's a very simple, intuitive mobile app that translates to the language of the user. It works offline, which is critical for agriculture. It drops GPS pins, it scans barcodes and QR codes with the camera, and adds context like images to what was traditionally captured on paper. And so those are your food safety documents, your quality management system, worker safety, your training logs, all of this happening outdoors and being written on paper. And I think the big difference is really the processing of that paper. So driving 30 minutes from the field at the end of the day to turn it into an office, and then another 30 minutes home when a farm worker was working right next to their house, they get home in time to see that their kids have already gone to bed and are asleep. And so if they could just go and capture that information on a mobile device, could they, spend more time with their family and have dinner? And so that really was kind of the genesis of what we were creating, was something that had a human impact to the people involved in an operation in agriculture. The challenge that we began addressing really has blossomed into a very, very large obstacle for growers, and that is compliance. And so the Food Safety Modernization Act, enacted by the FDA, has changed the way that food safety is regulated, where previously people could get saddled with hefty fines, but now farmers can actually go to jail if people start getting sick. And some providers of audits are only accepting digital submissions. And so paper no longer works where it did before. It's not even really an option anymore. That was a very big problem for growers, because the technologies that existed, back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s were all computer-based and very complex and very buggy. And that's why I mentioned, it was very fortunate timing in 2015, 2016, when we started this, as initially as an internship at CSUMB, that mobile devices really became a solution. But at the time we didn't really know what to have them do. So my background is working at Deere & Company, and so I came up with a tractor checklist. That was the first thing that we did. But then growers started to tell us more about, as I mentioned, the food safety and the training logs and the QA and spray records, and that we started to realize, well, you just want to get rid of paper, and we can do that. So that's how we've really grown, is we followed our initial early adopters in the Salinas Valley. They have told us what is the right way to go about building a mobile app and what kind of features and functionality would be required. And something interesting is when I was at John Deere, we would send tractors to Salinas as a proving ground. And so there's so much equipment and so many people, and the fields are so small, and everybody's moving constantly, that it was the rigorous testing that allowed us to know if a new feature like auto steer tractors, which came out of the Salinas Valley, would be adopted throughout the world. So when we started Heavy Connect, it was the same idea. If we build this mobile app and dashboard and analytics in a way that serves this grower community, known as the salad bowl of the world, global adoption is just a matter of time. And so it's been 7 years since we've done that. And we've showcased to growers like California Giant. This was their information on deploying Heavy Connect in their food safety department, where they did a report internally on the adoption of Heavy Connect and how it saved them in 2020, 750,000. And so it just continues to spread globally. And but it's not just the large enterprises, it's the small growers as well, because as I said, you know, we built this for the non-tech savvy, you know, not strong with mobile devices users, and it's kind of paid off by focusing on them. So we've crossed last year, we crossed $1 million in revenue, and continue to add pretty large logos and become a larger player in the food supply chain, not just in the first mile on the farm, but also with companies like Cisco in food service, and making sure that their quality and food safety standards are adhered to throughout their supplier network. We have a team of about 25 today. We are an international group, but Salinas is still home. And yeah, we really kind of owe the beginning of all of this to the CSUMB organization, not just the Startup Challenge. That was a huge boost, but also, you know, the internship for initially starting, you know, because many of these are CSUMB students. And then we went through 500 startups in San Francisco in 2016. We were accepted to that program. We went through the Techstars Farm to Fork program in St. Paul, Minnesota in 2018. We received venture capital funding from both those organizations, as well as Ecolab, and yeah, continue to grow in adoption, as well as the business grows. Any questions?
Cool, thanks. Yeah, actually, you got several questions in chat here. Jeff is asking, but have you got any concrete success stories you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been the biggest driver of growth, is success stories and sharing, because most of our growth comes from referrals. It's not about marketing. We've tried that, it just didn't get much traction. But once we start you know, sharing the kind of adoption stories around, you know, kind of around the, well, not that one, this, around the community of growers. This is an example of one with Ippolito International, where they use Heavy Connect for time and attendance. And then, you know, this is our marketing collateral, is sharing how they've benefited.
Actually, right now you're not screen sharing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There we go.
So, this is Rachel. So Ippolito International, and it's interesting because all of the companies really took us through the paces and validated us and vetted us out as a vendor prior to adoption. And so I think that, you know, being from the community and working with CSUMB got us in the door, you know, with the relationships. But as far as adopting the product into their business, we really were, you know, kind of stress tested as, is this enterprise ready? Is it commercial grade? Because, you know, they're using Heavy Connect to track the employee's time. And so there's a lot of legal ramifications if this is not, you know, ready for real world adoption, for thousands of people getting paid, you know, for payrolls that are well over $10 million, all sitting, you know, relying on a mobile app in the field to track it correctly. So, yeah.
Cool. So Will's got an intriguing question here about trying to understand how this works. Who's the primary user? Who enters the data and who reviews the data? Who are the players here on the?
Yeah. So because we focused on the Salinas Valley early on, those are different groups of people. So you have people in the field that are entering in the data, like a harvest foreman or a supervisor. and he's tracking and having people sign in, or he's scanning employee badges with the camera on an Android or iOS. And so he's clocking people in. And then Rachel has a payroll team who is reviewing the submissions on the Heavy Connect dashboard. So you've got separation there, but also it's, you know, it's inspections for pest scouting. So you've got your PCAs in the field that are scouting, they're driving four-wheelers up and down the rows, and then you've got your farm managers, you know, reviewing that, and your PCAs making sure that, you know, the recommendations for pesticide are being properly followed and like that. So they are groups of people, but as you get to the smaller customers, they become, you know, the person in the field is you know, the husband or wife, and then the other spouse is in the office managing the paperwork and following the dashboard. So this is a local vineyard company, Han Wines, and yeah, in California, the organizations are so large, but what we're finding now in our adoption is much larger organizations using Heavy Connect to validate and verify suppliers. So the people the small farms that they're using to create, for example, salad kits. And those are, so they're interrelated.
And so is the technology actually being used by those suppliers, and then the data is being shared up with the larger company?
Yeah,
Right.
so these orange ones are growers. We call them child accounts.
Yeah.
There are parent accounts. These are groups, USDA, HGRAP groups, so co-ops or food hubs. And then you can have an overall auditing organization, and the information passes from one account. So these aren't just users. These are separate accounts that are linked together in the cloud through Heavy Connect's API, where this kind of grandparent can see what's going on in Hawaii. And this person's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This is the North Shore of Hawaii Economic Vitality Program. And then this is a Thai-speaking grower that has less than an acre of land using the Heavy Connect app in Thai. And then, you know, it's able to be seen here in English by the North Shore organization. And then they're sending it to the mainland. So a lot of interrelation there.
So really tying together the worldwide supply chain.
Yeah, and it's very interwoven. Like, and that's the thing that makes it so hard for venture capitalists, for VCs to really get their heads around, is the size of a market opportunity when all of these organizations are so interrelated and kind of defined inaccurately. So for, you know, you hear like family farm, but you also know that a family farm in Texas can be 35,000 acres.
Right. Very cool. Well, there's some other questions here. You just mentioned venture capital, and Jeff was asking about pluses and minuses around you bringing in venture capital. How has that worked for you?
Yeah, it was on my bucket list, you know, like I think starting the company and, you know, the startup challenge, that was on the bucket list, getting noticed or mentioned in TechCrunch, right? So you've got these things that are kind of on the startup life cycle that can be personally meaningful. And I think that getting VC funding was that, or, you know, getting accepted into 500 startups before these programs became like so huge. They were very selective. Like, it was easier to get into Stanford than some of these programs. And so taking venture capital money, it's been really good because we have a very supportive board, and our investors really are hands off. So it's great. But I think everybody's experience is different. So we would not be here today without it. But it also is not, they like to sell themselves, VCs, as team members and hands-on, and they open their network, and that can be true, but you also have to do your due diligence in a fundraising like a Series A to make sure that that they follow through on that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Patrick. It's great to see your success over the, what are we on, about 7 years now?
Yeah.
So I always say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So you're getting close.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
great. And you've worked really hard at this. Glad to see you being so successful. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And so for our next presenter, we have FarmWise. I'm Teet of FarmWise. They're working on some amazing technology that you're going to see, some pretty cool stuff, innovating not only in the product technology, but also in their business model. So let's welcome Jaime to tell us how FarmWise is inventing the future.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Barbo. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. And yeah, we can just start with the slideshow. Great. Yeah, so I'll start by telling everyone a little bit about FarmWise. We were founded in 2016, 2017. Started in San Francisco, which is when I joined the company, and then shortly after that, we scaled to Salinas. So we started in San Francisco with one prototype, and then our next generation was 3 robots, and then in 2019 we launched a robot you see here, which is Titan, which we made 14 of, and that's what we operate today. Actually, this week we received our V5, which is our next generation robot, which we'll be receiving 10 of those shortly to add to our commercial fleet. Yeah, and we're venture capital funded, kind of like Heavy Connect. Up to date, we've raised about 30 million, and we're currently raising a Series B. And yeah, we can go on to the next slide. So what are some of the driving forces behind FarmWise was a shrinking labor supply and a strong demand for sustainability, right? So we have growers having more costs, obviously shrinking labor, and then people trying to find more sustainable ways to farm, and an increase in regulatory pressure and things like that. We can go to the next slide. So what makes our weeder a bit different? There were some weeding technologies that were already in the market when FarmWise was founded, but we were really the first company to leverage machine learning and AI to identify weeds. So we basically localize each plant. We localize the meristem of each plant with a machine learning model, and then we perform a mechanical actuation around that plant to remove all the weeds. So we are very much a data company, but we are also, putting, kind of executing an actionable insight around that data, or, a mechanical actuation technically, to kind of couple that data with, and in turn, performing a mechanical weeding. And I'll talk a little bit more about the data capabilities in some slides down the line. Next slide, please. So yeah, I'll show you guys a little video of weeding performance, so you can kind of see what the mechanical actuation side of our tooling looks like. There we have some 3D models of some of the things we've learned. That's our planner view. Great, thank you. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about our current market. So kind of like the other panelists were saying, we also focus on the specialty crop market. So anything from your cold crops, brassicas to lettuces. Today we're weeding in Salinas. We have a commercial operations center in Salinas, another one in Yuma. And we're also doing some work in Southern California, Ventura County and Santa Maria County. So we operate as a RAS model, which is robotics as a service, or a pretty straightforward service model, fixed cost per acre, no overhead or upfront payments, and minimal risk. We work with about 32 to 34 growers day to day, and some of our current customers there in the slide. And yeah, like I said, we're currently only operating as a service, but we plan on expanding our model into a leasing and a sales model with the next generation of robotics that we're launching here in the next few months. Next slide, please. So a little bit about the new generation of our machine. We're actually going towards a tractor pulled implement that is a bit more refined in the product sense, a bit more reliable, and with the ultimate goal of putting it in the grower's hands for kind of an internal farming operation, if you will. Yeah, so there's going to be, like I said, a tractor mounted implement that you can attach to any 3-point hitch on a conventional tractor. Next slide. Yeah, a little bit about our data tools, backend stuff, really exciting. So we have our own backend engineering team that's built kind of a scheduling system. And, as we take an image of every crop to make a decision on the field, we're also, getting pretty high quality data. So we can provide the grower with, plant count, stance, spacing, and diameter on data. We plan on adding some more advanced sensors and other technologies that could probably give some other insights, but currently this is what we're focused on, which is, pretty rudimentary field level data that we're collecting while our machines are on the field. We obviously, can't collect that at the scale that a drone could, because our machines are, going inherently slow because they're weeding, but we are giving growers some pretty neat reports on the fields that we weed, right? And yeah, that's it on that. Yeah, thanks guys. Happy to, take any questions you guys may have.
Cool, thank you very much. That's just fascinating. Couple questions here around your robots. Where are you manufacturing these?
In the US, our first generation was manufactured with Roush in Michigan. And we're using a CM in the Western United States for this round of robots. So we're doing a lot of things, a lot of fabrication, and 100% of the engineering in-house. We have our own fabrication department, but we're outsourcing the kind of the more intensive manufacturing to CMs, contract manufacturers.
Cool. And so as you change over from the self-driven units to the tractor pulled units, are there any engineering challenges there?
Yeah, absolutely. The self-driven units, the Titans, are great machines. They're very complex. They can handle some very hard use cases, but they were designed to be monitored and used by us, right? So we've had to kind of revamp and reiterate on that to be able to kind of ship a more refined product and be able to put that in the grower's hands. So not only does it have to be more reliable, but it has to be, today we operate our device via operators and teleoperators. And so that makes it much easier when you have an entire engineering team behind a fleet of machines. That's not going to be the case when you turn over a piece of technology to the grower, right? And so it needs to be more intuitive. It needs to have, a higher degree of usability and just overall be very simple. And those are the challenges that we've taken on, but that's part of, product evolution, I guess.
Cool. A question from Russell here. What's FarmWise's biggest differentiator against other similar solutions in the marketplace?
Yeah, so I would say our machine learning technology. the ability, our ability to tackle, difficult use cases is one. Right now, there's just one other company that uses AI. The other ones use, infrared and more, dumber technology which has its limitations, right? When it comes to, it can do, green on brown, but green on green, it struggles with. And then secondly, I would say we're currently the only company that's offering a service model. And that's been a big differentiator for us, because it's just a greater return to the grower, more convenient to the grower. A lot of these growers don't want to own fixed assets. They don't have the technical infrastructure to own, advanced technology. And so they prefer the service model.
Yeah, a huge issue in adoption of new technology is managing the risk and you're doing that through this service model. Robotics as a service, RAS, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Russell's also asking about scope of crop types. Is it limited now, and where do you think you can go with this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Russell. So it's not really limited, right? So we can build a machine learning model in a couple of days. We have these two machines we call Hawkeyes, and they're just data gathering carts we can put out in the field and, gather thousands of images. We send them up to the machine learning team. Some of them get annotated, and we have a new model. Today, we have about a dozen models, all types of lettuces, so all species of lettuces that are grown in the Salinas Valley: artichoke, cauliflower, radicchio, celery. We've built cotton models. Really, the limiting factor, Russell, is crop spacing. There's just some crops that are not, well suited for mechanical weeding. Corn, for example. You're dealing with huge acre plots. Mechanical weeding is inherently slow. You need enough intra-row spacing to get a blade in between the crop. And so really the limitations are in high density crops or row crops. Yeah, they are, row crops are on our roadmap. Obviously, our investors do want to see us enter $1 billion plus market. And that's no matter which way you crunch the specialty crop market, you're just not going to get there. And so we are looking at technologies to leverage our data and perhaps a different type of actuation into maybe trying something out in row crops. And then you have your high density crops, which FarmWise cannot do. You've seen some players now coming into that space with, there's carbon robotics with lasers and things like that. But we don't really touch the high density space for obvious reasons. Physics, we just can't get in between those tightly spaced crops like spinach and carrots and things like that.
Very cool. Excellent. Thank you very much, Jaime. That was great. Really cool stuff out there happening. All right. So we've heard from 3 companies that are defining where we're going in 21st century agriculture here. Now let's hear from an organization that is helping these companies get started, and get successful in the marketplace. This is the Fresno State Water, Energy, and Technology Center, the WET Center, as they call it, supporting innovators and entrepreneurs as they commercialize through training, coaching, and networking. So their programs, by the way, are available to companies in our region through the Blue Tech Valley Innovation Cluster, of which we, the CSUMB Institute for Innovation and Economic Development, we're one of the hubs of the Blue Tech Valley Innovation Cluster. So please welcome Jeff McCon, Venture Development Manager for the Fresno State WET Center. Take it away, Jeff.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Barbeau. I'm going to share my screen here, and let's give this a whirl. All right, there. Can you hear me and see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for being on this webinar today and giving me the opportunity to present on Fresno State's WET Center, Water Energy Technology Center. I'm looking at our website here, wetcenter.org, and I'm Venture Development Manager. I'm not a faculty member, scientist, or engineer. I just love helping businesses succeed, and specifically water, energy, and ag tech businesses through the program we have. And I'll talk to you about that in case you or anyone you know could use help trying to get, a water, energy, and ag business to market here in California. We'd love to help you. That is our mission, noted here. And our impact at a glance, the Wet Center, we've had a program going through the California Energy Commission for 5 years that's allowed us to operate. And we touch about 100 ventures per year. And down here at the footnote, there are 86 ventures we've worked with actively over the 5-year period. And we've helped these 86 ventures collectively raise over $205 million in external funding from grants, angel investors, venture capitalists, strategic partners. So that dollar sign is a signal that we must be doing something reasonably okay, that people are putting money into these ventures we're working with. And we pride ourselves on having, equity and for the entrepreneurs we work with, female and different folks work with ventures. As Russell noted, today's Women's Day, need solutions from all. And with the Wet Center at Fresno State, I want to comment a little bit. Fresno State, large campus. We have a 1,000-acre farm on campus, which is pretty unique for most universities, especially in somewhat of a suburban, almost urban environment where we're at. But 1,000 acres allows us to replicate the growth of the 400+ crops grown in California. Plus, we have livestock, food processing, dairy processing, the first winery of any public university we've had for some years. And so this gives these ventures opportunities to test their technologies and validate their technologies on our farm, as well as get linked into the food, ag, production businesses throughout the Central Valley. And as Dr. Barbeau said at the beginning, Wet Center was started in 2007 as an incubator. This picture here on the right is one of our 2 buildings now, and it says incubator on it. We have offices, 12 offices where ventures can rent and use it to develop their technologies, get into market through Fresno and the Central Valley and California. And so we have the incubator option, but we have some other things, as Dr. Barbeau mentioned, a Blue Tech Valley Innovation Cluster I'll describe here in just a minute, as well as our accelerator. But at Fresno State, we have lots of partners like CSUMB and other hubs, but our ventures are who we work with. And here are quick testimonials. Nico Pinkowski, he and 4 PhDs from Stanford doing nitricity, they created a cool technology that takes nitrogen from the air, uses solar power to change that nitrogen from the air to nitrogen fertilizer on the ground for a farmer. So a farmer can make nitrogen fertilizer from the air and solar right there on the farm. And this could help us get away from the Haber-Bosch fertilizer production units, which were remarkable since World War II to help us get the fertilizer we need to make the food we needed for our population to be as much as it is at 7 billion. But those Haber-Bosch factories produce a lot of CO2 and greenhouse gases. So we would like to change that. They would like to change that, and they're doing it. They got a pre-seed round of $2 million, seed round of $5 million. They tested their technologies at our Center for Irrigation Technology, Fresno State, and they're off and running, doing a large installation in Fresno, got a lot of traction. Second person we see here is Jim Finney of Epiphany. He's out of Clovis area. His father was actually a wonderful PhD in irrigation for both UC Riverside, Fresno State, and others, help farmers go from flood irrigation to drip irrigation. But Jim went through Air Force Academy, has been doing irrigation businesses for some time, and he's really good at getting the silt out of irrigation water. There's a lot of large projects there. On the right, we have Waldo Moraga. Just to show you, we don't work with just ventures from Fresno State or from Fresno, it's all over. Waldo Moraga came to us from Chile 5 years ago, went through our accelerator because he had a solution for farmers that can help them with their irrigation water, manage their pH balance, their acidity, so that crops grow well. And he uses a safe carbonic acid instead of what's currently used, which is a sulfuric acid and dangerous. And he also has plays in how he can generate his carbonic acid in a sustainable, renewable way, which is pretty cool. And he's off and running, doing installs and servicing his product up and down the valley. And if you go to wetcenter.org, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, if you're a venture who wants help, you can plug in your name and email address here, hit the I'm Not a Robot, and we can help you. My colleague Grace Manley, Fresno State Ag Business student, been working with us for years, will help you out. I can help you out. So that's the first thing of 3 things I want to show you. The second thing is what Dr. Brad Barbeau mentioned, was the Blue Tech Valley Innovation Cluster. And this is pretty cool. This was started by Dr. David Zoldalski in 2012. And blue, water, the basis of our ag. Output for ag in California Central Valley is 50 billion per year. Huge amount of money in economic activity. And 20% of California's energy is used on water. Water conveyance, water's heavy, move it, takes energy. Water treatment, filtering, cleaning, using for ag, businesses, residents, takes a lot of energy. So with that in mind, Dr. Zoldalski was able to get a California Energy Commission grant. And I'm navigating here to this map to show you the CEC logo, California Energy Commission, and the state of California, because they decided to split the state into 4 innovation clusters so that they could help the state meet its carbon goals, clean energy goals over the years, maybe decades ahead. And the 4 innovation clusters are: 1, the Bay Area, run by a group called Activate Energy, the new name for Cyclotron Road at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, a wonderful program for PhDs to get funding to take their clean energy technologies, get them moving. Another area is 4 counties for Los Angeles, run by Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator, also known as LACY, and they focus largely on buildings and transportation, Los Angeles area. And in San Diego, these 4 counties run by Clean Tech San Diego, again, focused on buildings and transportation technologies. And the rest of the darn state, they call it the Central Valley, which is a misnomer, right? It includes the Central Coast, where you folks are at, the Eastern Sierras, other side of the Sierras, far Northern California. So Dr. Zoldalski was like, well, we're not going to be Fresno State and go to 39 counties, say we're here to help you with, clean tech, climate tech. So we split up, scope of work and budget, got our hubs, Cal State Bakersfield, Cal State Monterey Bay, and Dr. Barbeau there. Humboldt State, which is now Cal Poly Humboldt, I think is pretty cool. Chico State, another one, and Chico State has an 800-acre farm, and they've been focusing on regenerative agriculture for quite some time. And they were recently awarded a USDA grant of $7 million for 5 years to help focusing more on regenerative agriculture and carbon credits, which is pretty cool. And then we have Sacramento State in the capital and Sierra Business Council in the Tahoe Truckee area. So this is our blue tech valley that allows us to be funded, and all these partners to be funded to help ventures. So we don't have to charge ventures for our help, and to help them succeed and lead to that, get our 200 million plus in investments higher, 300 million and beyond. So that's a Blue Tech Valley Innovation Cluster. And lastly, as part of our programs to help ventures, is our Valley Ventures Accelerator, started in 2016, originally funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration, EDA, federal funds, but since more largely funded by the California Energy Commission. And we just got a grant from the SBA to have a women's accelerator in water, energy, and ag tech that we're planning for next year. But our Valley Ventures Accelerator is where we take cohorts or groups of companies, 10 to 15 every fall, and we, online and in Fresno, get them with subject matter experts, investors, strategic partners, and help them accelerate their business. And we've had 6 cohorts to date, including 70 companies, and collectively these ventures have raised over $124 million. Again, just a market signal to say, must be doing something reasonably okay because people are putting their money into it. And so this summer we'll be taking applications for our 7th cohort this fall. And I look forward to connecting with any ventures who might be interested. You can reach out to me or go to thewetcenter.org and that email form, or check out our website here and find contact information. But there's a video of our Dr. Charles Hillier, who's our Associate Director of Fresno State's California Water Institute and the Center for Irrigation Technology, and the Fresno State Wet Center and Blue Tech Valley and the Valley Ventures Accelerator. But going down here, some testimonials. Box Power out of Sacramento, they do really cool microgrids. So they've been installing these. First, they started in Alaska and Puerto Rico where they needed electricity. And so they were putting solar panels on containerized units that they could get up in 2 hours and have solar power to some area that might need it. But lo and behold, California has become that market too, because we've had the public safety power shutoffs from PG&E because of the wildfires that took out cities like Paradise and others, all these fires that we've had. And so we need to get safer and smarter with our energy and how that's deployed. And these microgrids are a solution. They have installations outside of Yosemite and up near Tahoe, and are really testing these things out. Grow Guru in the middle, Dr. Farouk Anjum of San Diego, developed his Grow Guru wireless sensors for precision ag on our Fresno State Center for Irrigation Technology plots. And has gotten a CEO since. They went through our accelerator, and they've had a couple rounds of crowdfunding, which is pretty cool. And in crowdfunding, their first round, they thought they might raise $1 million in 60 days. They raised $2 million in 30 days. And they're going for another 4 million. So pretty cool stuff. Skyven Technologies on the right, they're out of Texas with really cool solar technology. that they use for food processors and to get the excess heat so that food processors, there's like 200 food processors in Fresno County alone, a lot in your area, that they can better manage, utilize clean energy for their processes, reduce costs and reduce impact to the environment. They've gotten a lot of California Energy Commission grants for the Food Production Investment Program to do just that. So Valley Ventures, you can sign up for our newsletter. You can reach out to us at the bottom of this webpage. And again, my name is Jeff Macon. I'm going to show this page with my website here that I'll select in case anybody wants to email me. But Jeff Macon at mail.fresnostate.edu. And again, love to help any ventures who could use some help. Also looking for advisors, people who might want to invest in ventures or help ventures or be part of a company, a larger ag company that might want to work with some of these new technologies that are up and coming, call them strategic partners. But by all means, check out our websites, reach out to us. And Dr. Barbeau and your team there, Cal State Monterey Bay, IIED, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jeff. Very cool what you guys are doing over there. Very successful. And just emphasizing again, if you're starting a company in ag or water or energy over here on the coast, you have access to the wet center programs that they have over there. So reach out to us and we can connect you to them. We've done that with a few companies so far.
Yes, and on that, Dr. Barbeau, Daniel Howe, a graduate of Cal State Monterey Bay and in computer science, and he's in the East Bay, and he touts your program so much, and he went through your programs, and he's now doing How Neat, which is precision ag hardware software, cash flow positive, and he started NeatMon, this new monitor that he's developing, and he's doing wonderful. He learned a lot through your programs. He's gone through our accelerator, so it's been very nice to have some of that connection there.
Oh, that's really excellent. I'm glad to hear that update on Daniel. I haven't talked to him for a little while. Sounds like he is doing great.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. Any other questions? So that the relevant URLs are there in chat for you all to connect up with the center. And that brings us to the end of tonight's programs. Thank you very much to our panel, Russell Cole of Exactly, Patrick Zelaya of Heavy Connect, Jaime Eltit of FarmWise, and Jeff Macon of the Valley Ventures and the Wet Center at Fresno State. Thank you all very much. And we got left here to finish up. Join the in crowd. We have a monthly newsletter. You want to keep up on things? Jump on that newsletter. We'll put the URL in chat so you can sign up for that. And thanks again to our sponsors. And let's roll to reminder about next time when we're doing drones, automation, and robotic technology. That'll be on Tuesday, April 12th, second Tuesday in April. And the location, we're saying, well, maybe Marina back at the Spring Hill Suites as we did pre-COVID. Maybe we'll just be on Zoom. With great luck, we'll be on both. So watch. We will announce the location when we get a little bit closer. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Enter Startup Challenge. If you know somebody else who's got a business, they've got time to jump in there and enter Startup Challenge. Love to have you in there. Thank you all and have a great night.